From rock gardens and 3-foot ledges to dune bowls and axle-deep mud, these are production off-road beasts you can buy today and send straight into the rough. We're calling out the hardware that matters: tires, travel, lockers, and approach angles. Buckle up. This is a practical, no BS guide to what each rig actually does when the trail turns ugly. Number 5. Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392, Final Edition. The Rubicon 392 is the most gloriously unhinged Wrangler you can drive off a dealer lot, because it marries the Wrangler's ladder frame and solid axles to a big, bellowing V8. From the factory, you get heavy-duty axles, locking differentials front and rear, a 2-speed transfer case with a serious low range, and skid plates that actually matter on granite ledges. With the 35-inch tire package, ground clearance climbs well into the double digits, and approach and departure angles make short work of 2-foot ledges. It's built to ford creeks measured in feet, not inches, with breathers and sealing that let you splash without anxiety. The wheelbase keeps it stable on loose climbs, yet tight enough to thread through 6 to 8-foot wide tree gaps. Rock rails protect the sills when you high center on a boulder the size of a washing machine. And because it's a Wrangler, there's a massive aftermarket if you decide the stock armor or 35s somehow aren't enough. On trail, the 392's party trick is torque on command. You can idle over football-sized rocks or blitz a sandy rise at 30 to 40 miles per hour without hunting gears. The long throw suspension soaks up ruts that will rattle a crossover to pieces, and the steering gives you enough feel to place a front tire on a 6-inch knuckle of ground. In tight switchbacks, the short overhangs let the bumpers survive where long-nose rigs scrape or fold plastic. When you do tag something, it's usually the replaceable bits and not the radiator or oil pan, thanks to proper skid coverage. On steep, loose descents, the crawl ratio and hill descent control keep speed pegged to a few miles per hour while you pick your line inch by inch. Even aired down to the mid-teens PSI, the beadlock-capable wheels keep the 35s planted and compliant. It's loud, thirsty, and absolutely hilarious. Precisely the point of a V8 Wrangler you can hammer all weekend and drive home on Sunday night. Number 4. Ford Bronco Raptor. The Bronco Raptor is a wide-track, long-travel desert animal that still crawls with the best of them. Ford stiffened the frame, braced key suspension points, and bolted on 37-inch tires right from the factory. Rubber you usually only see after a few grand of mods. Fox live valve dampers gulp big hits, so you can skim washboards at 50+ miles per hour without the teeth chatter. Ground clearance breaks well into the teens in inches, so breakover on a 2-foot ridge isn't a white-knuckle event. Bash plates run nose to transfer case, and the high-mounted intakes help when creeks climb into the 2 to 3-foot range. The body is nearly 7 feet wide at the mirrors, which sounds huge, but that stance is what keeps it planted when the whoops stack up. And the cabin is set up for real use. Marine-grade vinyl, drain plugs, and accessory switches you can wire in under an hour. Where the Bronco Raptor shines is the way it flips from sand mode hooligan to low-range tactician. In GOAT modes, the throttle mapping, transmission logic, and lockers shift to suit the terrain, so you can go from 70 miles per hour across a dune face to a 1 mile per hour crawl over a 12-inch step without fighting the truck. One-pedal drive helps meter torque on steep rock shelves, where a 6-inch throttle jab could mean a bumper kiss. The steering stays calm at speed, so you're not sawing the wheel every few feet, and the 37s create a big, forgiving contact patch when you drop to 15 to 18 psi. Approach and departure angles are silly enough that you'll run out of driver nerve before you run out of geometry. If you do misjudge, the factory sliders and steel corners take the hit instead of your doors or tailgate. It's a purpose-built hammer that somehow keeps daily driver manners on a 30-mile freeway commute. Number 3. Ford F-150 Raptor R. Think of the Raptor R as a trophy truck you can register. Long travel suspension, a 5-link rear with big body shocks, and a supercharged V8 that turns sand into rooster tails. With 37-inch tires and serious damping, wheel travel pushes into the teens in inches, enough to land a small jump without the frame slamming the bump stops. The aluminum body sits on a boxed steel frame with reinforcements at key impact points, so the bed and cab don't shimmy on corrugated dirt at 40 to 60 miles per hour. Skid plates protect the front crossmember, steering bits, and the oil pan, and the high mount exhaust is tucked well above typical snag points. The hood vents and grille feed real cooling. You can flog it at 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the desert and watch temps stay sane. It's also a full-size truck, so you get a bed that hauls 4-foot wide sheets and a hitch that tows toys measured in thousands of pounds. The stance is wide, near 7 feet mirror to mirror, so pick your forest trails accordingly. On the move, the Raptor R erases distance the way smaller rigs erase potholes. It'll float across a mile of whoops where a normal pickup bottoms out after 50 feet. And the steering stays surprisingly precise even when the front axle is cycling a foot up and down. The long hood and tall fenders give you a great view of the tire tops, so you can place a sidewall against a 10-inch ledge instead of smashing the lip. Drop tire pressures into the teens and it glides over babyhead rocks that would beat a half-ton to pieces in 5 minutes. In low range, the transfer case multiplies torque enough to idle up 20 to 30 degree climbs without drama. Approach and departure angles let you nose into a 2-foot cut bank or drop off the other side without folding the bumper. It's big, it's heavy, and it absolutely devours terrain that used to require a trailer and a dedicated race truck. Number 2. GMC Hummer EV, pickup or SUV. The Hummer EV is a rolling cheat code that combines instant electric torque with off-road tech you can feel from the first 10 feet. 4-wheel steering shrinks the turning circle so much that a 216-inch long pickup spins around like a mid-size SUV. You can U-turn on a 2-lane road that's barely 24 feet wide. CrabWalk lets all 4 wheels steer the same direction, sliding the truck diagonally to avoid a 2-foot boulder or line up with a 3-foot ledge. Extract mode hikes the body several inches for roughly 16 inches of clearance, so high centering on a log the size of a railroad tie is suddenly less likely. Underbody cameras give you eyes on the rocks, and armored plates keep the massive battery safe when you do scrape. Stock tires are 35 inches tall, with plenty of sidewall to soften hits when you air down into the teens PSI. And despite tipping the scales well over 9,000 pounds, the suspension tune keeps it composed over ruts and washouts. Real world, the Hummer EV changes what's possible for a full-size rig on tight trails. With rear steer, you can thread between pines spaced 7 to 8 feet apart without a 3-point shuffle, and the diagonal trick is perfect for bypassing a 30-inch stump without backing up. The throttle is ultra-fine at 1 to 3 miles per hour, so you can climb a 12-inch step without the lurch you sometimes get from a gassy pedal. In sand, the weight actually helps it plane once you're above 20 to 25 miles per hour, and the battery mass down low keeps body roll in check on off-camber shelves. Water crossings measured around 2.5 to nearly 3 feet are fair game when you plan your entry and keep the bow wave small. The downside is obvious: weight and width. So you'll skip narrow Jeep trails and old mining roads cut for 60-inch rigs. But on the routes it fits, the Hummer EV feels like you've unlocked a video game power-up and brought it into the real world. Number 1. Mercedes-AMG G 63 4x4 Squared. The G63 4x4 Squared sits on portal axles, gearboxes at each wheel that raise the hub several inches, so the diffs ride higher without suspension lifts that wreck geometry. That single choice gives you around 14 inches of ground clearance, so pumpkin strikes on 10 to 12-inch rocks are basically off the table. Pair that with 3 locking differentials, a 2-speed transfer case, and a torquey twin-turbo V8, and you get crawl control that feels like a winch in low gear. The ladder frame is old-school stout. The fenders are sliced high above the 30-plus inch tires, and the bumpers tuck up to keep approach and departure angles properly steep. Weighting is measured in the neighborhood of 3 feet, and the intake and breathers are routed to deal with bow waves rather than showroom puddles. The brakes are sized to haul down a truck that weighs well north of 5,000 pounds without fade on a 10-mile descent. And unlike most rigs with this much hardware, the cabin is a leather-lined bunker that stays quiet at 70 miles per hour. On trail, portal axles are the cheat most people don't realize they want until they drive them. Because the gears live out at the hubs, The drive shafts and diffs spin slower relative to wheel speed, which reduces stress when you're clawing up a 25-degree climb. The higher axle center lines mean your control arms and tie rods sit inches farther from harm, so you can straddle a 12-inch boulder and hear nothing but tire squish. The suspension is tuned to keep the body level on off-camber shelves that would put a normal SUV on its door handles, and the long hood and upright glass give you excellent sightlines to the corners. Air the tires down to 15 to 18 psi and the G-pads over sharp rock edges like it's rolling on 6-inch foam. When it's time to bail, the underbody armor and stout toe points handle kinetic strap recoveries without bending sheet metal. It's ludicrously capable, shamelessly expensive, and absolutely deserving of the crown in this buy it and go anywhere list. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Until next time.